guys, thanks for joining me for another episode of The Comment Section. I'm Reagan Conrad. We have a doozy of an episode today. The women who have come out on the losing end of the election cycle have decided to take their rage and aim at the look and appearance of the women on the other side. It's funny because they speak out of both sides of their mouths. They scream about female empowerment always, but then they are the first ones to try and stomp on the women who are true examples of boss babes when those women happen to think much differently than they do. Enter the latest new TikTok trend on the left. What is conservative girl makeup? And am I accidentally wearing it? It's giving drained. Liberal TikTok users are mocking conservative girl makeup. Trump staffers need a beauty blender. Conservative girl makeup trend sparks upset. And here is The Guardian trying to paint the picture so that you guys have a little bit of a better understanding. Their explanation is hilarious to me. Somewhere in the wilderness, in a top secret location, there is an underground lab where normal women go in and Fox News hosts come out. It's called the makeup chair when you're a host on a show. But it's some conspiracy, it's some crazy thing. I'll continue. Their hair gets dyed an approved shade of blonde before getting snipped, longish, and styled wavy-ish in exactly the same way. I have a bad look going on today as I'm reading this. They are fitted from one big Stepford Wives wardrobe and then heavily made up. All over the US, right-wing women emulate this look, creating an army of conservative clones. Obviously, I am being hyperbolic. Republican women don't look exactly the same. The occasional brunette is tolerated, even celebrated. Melania Trump has done wonders for diversity. You're so funny. Nevertheless, the fact that many conservatives, men and women, seem to look and dress eerily alike, almost as if they are in a weird cult, is hard to ignore. When I first read this, I laughed because we are the ones that look cultish? Are you kidding me? I'm not going to get into the details of the leftist looks because I don't want to be at their level. It's not politically correct for these outlets to dissect the far leftist female attire, consisting of multi-hair colors, microbangs, and every pin and flag on their colorful outfits, excluding, of course, the American flag. But naturally, the Republican women are fair game to comment on.
Microbangs are the absolute worst.
Microbangs are a crime against women. That's all I have to say about this. The Cuts article just featured these women as they were trying to paint this point, which I'm going to get into later, but just note who these women are. They're all objectively beautiful women. These aren't their most flattering photos ever, which only makes it seem like this mean girl energy is just they're looking to paint these women in a bad light, which is just classic mean girl. I thought it was going to be like women who might not be seen as, objectively beautiful, but then they pull like Laura Trump and Kristi Noem, who's like a hot chick. It's so funny to be like, okay, you got us. I mean, talk about these girls being a girl's girl. I love how it's totally okay to insult these beautiful white women when this would never fly with any other demographic of women, especially on the left. The Cut gave their version of the conservative makeup trend and said, the Republican makeup aesthetic can be described as aggressive, overdone and underblended. It manages to be both frantic and calculated. A thick, bone-dry matte base flattens the complexion, while intense, sometimes clumsy contouring leads to cheekbones that appear receded rather than defined. The lips are overdrawn, while the eyeliner fully encircles the eye in the exact manner I was instructed to do by my middle school musical theater teacher. I imagine it being applied with a frenzied fervor of the creepy kid in every horror movie. And like the generous amounts of pigment used by pageant contestants and stage performers, Republican makeup often has the same effect of making its wearer look significantly older. The borderline evangelical devotion to side parts among GOP senators isn't doing the party any favors either. It's funny that they mentioned the pageant contestants because a lot of these Republican women were former pageant women. That's why I would argue they do go for this heavier makeup look. But again, they're pageant women, meaning they're objectively beautiful women who have participated a lot in society. They try to get all these gotchas and they just didn't really work. And then the comments about GOP senators and their side parts, shall we take a deep, long look at your party's leading ladies? Is that the game that we want to play here? Because if it is, yeah, game on, ladies, game on. It shouldn't be the game. And although we would win, I don't want to play it. I don't want to stoop to your levels. It's immature, it's actually sexist, and it's completely unproductive to any headway that could be made between the parties, especially among women. It's beautifully emblematic of the classic mean girl takedown tactic. If you don't understand them, if you perceive them as a threat, if you can't actually debate their arguments, you come for their looks. Here's the girl who started this whole trend. She describes herself as the left's Regina George. She's very proud of being the mean girl. And here's her video about the Republican makeup trend.
Hey, I noticed that all of the Republican girlies in my comments do their makeup the exact same gorgeous way.
I want to pause here because the fact that she just highlighted a bunch of profiles of average American women and is just making fun of them is wild to me. And that so many people loved this. They thought it was so funny and so cool. And so like, yes, girl, call them out. Evil. She's pulling like the chicks that have like these, see how they have like flower crowns on their head? So it's like the Snapchat filters. It's clearly women who are more insecure about certain things. And, you know, they want to post those kind of photos of themselves. So to call them out is just especially disgusting and low. Like, what? You have nothing better to do? Just wait, because she literally doesn't have anything better to do. This is literally what she does, like, for a living.
So I thought that I would try to do it myself. Starting with the base, I'm not going to do any prep at all. We really want our makeup to cling to any dry spots and accentuate any texture that we might have. Starting with foundation. Now, I have cool undertones in my skin, meaning reddish pinkish undertones. So we want to choose a makeup that doesn't match the undertones of our skin. So I'm going in with my warmest foundation. Rather than using a brush, we're actually just going to apply directly to the skin and use our hands. That way it's streaky and it doesn't blend well. I also applied extra tanner to my hands so that it doesn't actually match anything. You'll notice that it's also really matte. I wanted a really matte finish.
Honestly, this entire video is just, it just feels like the mean girl who has stunning skin, who's a beautiful girl, but she's making fun of the girls who don't know how to do their makeup or who don't have good skin or who feel insecure. So she thinks it's this MAGA versus left. No, it's just girls who are on the TikTok trends, who love the clean girl aesthetic, who go for that, and then women who don't or who can't. It's just, it's so rude. The average American woman does not care. And then she's just making fun of them. I don't know. It's so annoying to me.
Drained. It's giving dusty.
It's giving drained. It's giving dusty.
We want to make sure that it doesn't look like we've ever used moisturizer once in our life. This is looking pretty good. I'm going to leave it unblended here and here just to make it look more authentic. Next, we want to pick a concealer that's about 3 or 4 shades lighter than whatever we just used for our base. So I'm going in with my lightest concealer. Make sure you really get it under the crease so that it settles into the fine lines.
I also love how now she's talking about fine lines and how women will have creases in their makeup with fine lines. Again, this is not a Republican versus Democrat thing. This is a women have lines in their skin. That's okay. Some makeup does emphasize it, and women feel insecure about that. And they can't all go get filler and Botox, nor do they want to. But then you have women like this just making fun of that. Everything about this is so annoying to me. It comes across as so like a privileged woman who, this chick clearly gets a lot of filler. I've watched her videos. Like she has the glassy filler skin. And if she doesn't, well done, you have great skin. But to come at women who don't have great skin in the guise of, you know, being like it's a makeup thing. No, you're just making fun of their skin. Like it's just.
Now for brows, we want bold glamour filter, but in real life and not totally matching. Pulling out the Old Faithful Anastasia Brow Wiz. So we want really sharp kind of angles, but we don't want it to be too straight, almost like we applied in the dark. I am applying low on the face. Again, we don't want to create an uplifted Bella Hadid effect. We really want to cast the eye downward so it kind of looks like everything is drooping.
It's such Mean Girl. I know she's proud to be Mean Girl, but like, this feels like such a Mean Girl, and it's a wild thing to be proud of. Like the articles we're talking about earlier, they're trying to say that they are coming for the Caroline Levitts or the Laura Trumps, but really she's making fun of the average American woman who doesn't fully know how to do her own makeup, or perhaps is stuck in an older era of makeup. Probably women who buy drugstore makeup and are too busy raising a family and working all day to care about the latest TikTok trends. Speaking of the average Americans, did you know that 90% of us are nutrient deficient? And while the supplement aisle might seem like the answer, most of those options are just temporary fixes full of synthetic ingredients. That's why I love what G.O.P is doing. G.O.P is on a mission to make food as medicine a reality through bite-sized nutrition solutions that are simple and delightful to digest. The G.O.P Bite is a functional daily multivitamin formulated for proper absorption, packed with 20+ nutrients, prebiotics, and probiotics, all in one delicious real food bite for foundational health. They are designed to fill your nutritional gaps and use real food your body intuitively absorbs best. Plus, G.O.P sources organic ingredients whenever possible and has nothing artificial. All bites are vegan, gluten-free, and soy-free. And it's not just feel-good marketing, they're backed by science. They formulate with nourishing ingredients that are individually backed by clinical and scientific studies to ensure that your body gets exactly what it needs every single day. If you want to give the first real food multivitamin a try, head to dailygem.com/Conrad or enter Conrad at checkout for 30% off your first order. That's dailygem.com/Conrad or enter Conrad at checkout for 30% off your order. So get healthy and stay healthy, and don't worry about the bullies over on TikTok coming for your makeup looks. This trend is coming from wealthy liberal women who spend all day on TikTok buying the latest skincare products, probably getting filler and investing in other treatments to give them that glassy skin appearance. But high-end skincare and facials and filler and other cosmetic treatments simply aren't relatable or attainable to the average girl. Which makes all this ironic that it's coming from someone who is supposed to be empathetic to people of all different walks of life. Also, the clean girl aesthetic that is super trendy in my age group and on TikTok is great for girls with perfect skin or no lines. But that makeup trend doesn't work for everyone. The women are either older or the photos from, Caroline Levitt or whatever, they're on the news. Or they make fun of the Fox News girls. Those girls are in hair and makeup for a long time. Like, that's part of the industry. CNN does the same thing. It's not just Fox. The Fox girls are iconically hot, so maybe that's the critique here, but everyone goes through heavy makeup when they're on stages or speaking. So the criticism that these girls look bad with a lot of makeup, it's like, they're wearing a lot of makeup for their job. Like, it's, whether or not you like the makeup look, I don't love all the makeup looks at all, but that doesn't mean that we make fun of it. This is when it just gets bad, because then every girl just started making this. They're just trying to be Trump. Like, they're just like, okay, let's paint our faces orange and we'll make this funny joke about Trump. Speaking about not using a beauty blender, I would make that argument for Trump. I wouldn't make that argument for Laura Trump or any of the beautiful Trump women. Yeah, that's all she does. Okay, cool. This is what happens when you can't hire a gay makeup artist and stylist, LOL. They love to believe that no gay people exist on the right. That's one of my favorite things when I see that. I'm like, guys, oh, little do you know. Nobody is nastier to women than liberal women are to other women who don't agree with them on politics. Again, a perfect example of that is being walked out in this episode. Democrat makeup is the same, but it's actually a guy. That's really where I wanted to go with this episode. Again, to paint the full irony. But everyone knows it, so I'm not going to go there. I'm going to just let that just exist. They're funny, but again, it's like that's all they've got. So great job. Are you making these funny jokes about bad makeup? Yeah, great. This is horrible makeup. I think I'm really happy. They all play country music too in the background of these songs. Again, it's feeding my it's just regular American women, working women, and we're just gonna make fun of them. I did see a counter conversation start to happen because some of the women that were doing this, their makeup ended up looking better than how they looked prior, because the liberals do not get to claim this clean girl aesthetic. That's just that one girl who has good skin. So the liberal makeup doesn't always look better. Or some of the more emo girls would take off all of their makeup and put on this kind of makeup, and everyone's like, it's not the own you think it is. This one really got me, though.
So according to TikTok, the look is defined by thick, clumpy mascara.
And just, again, these photos, it's Tomi Lahren. It's all news girls here on the side, so they have a lot of makeup, and they don't look bad, but they're maybe not the best photos.
Cakey ass foundation that's always way too orange, because apparently white Republican women never choose foundation that matches their undertones, and really bad half-lined lips. Marjorie Taylor Greene is a great example of Republican makeup.
Doesn't even have that much makeup on. This, I just don't.
It's always about 3 shades too warm. The foundation is very cakey, absolutely no primer and no moisturizer. Caroline Levitt is another outstanding example of Republican makeup. Unblended contour.
I knew the second that Caroline entered the mainstream that they would try to find things fault in her, they literally just pounce. So a new girl enters the scene. She's beautiful. She's in a lot of heavy makeup because she's doing press conferences, and immediately they're like, oh, well, this part of her eyebrow is bad. And it's such the mean girl energy. Go get an actual argument and then come back to the table. You just look ignorant.
The Republican makeup and clean girl makeup are 2 very popular trends among white women. As you can see here,
they show Hailey Bieber in this stunning model compared to Marjorie Taylor Greene's freaking government photo, and then this really unflattering angle of Laura Trump. It's not fair to even make those comparisons, and those girls don't have a lot of makeup, and they do. It's just them trying to be, petty. The liberals do not get to own the clean girl makeup aesthetic. It's not a liberal thing. It's a Gen Z thing predominantly. Younger girls are leaning into this less makeup look, which is fantastic, but it's not Republican versus Democrat here. Space Coyote commented under that and said, "We are done with these women." And I'm not going to talk about Space Coyote. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to say it. It's funny to me with all this because the lead mean girl in this whole movement justifies this energy by saying things like, well, look where being nice and kind liberals got us. It's time to be mean. First of all, the far left ones have not been the peace-loving liberals of yesteryear for a very, very long time at this point. One of, I would argue, the many reasons why they lost. Instead, this girl is abandoning those redeeming qualities and just teaching women to be mean. She desperately wants to get conservatives all riled up and angry because it will bring her joy, I guess. The simple truth is, though, we don't care.
We do not care.
These women are busy parenting their children, working hard for their families, feeding their families, and not spending all day on TikTok obsessing over the next makeup trend. It's a shallow trend, it's comical, and it's perfectly symbolic of the modern liberals. They pretend to represent the middle class, the common people, but they happen to always find ways over and over again to criticize those very people. We are right back in high school again. But in this story, the mean girls don't get the final say. So they can go on TikTok and make their little selfie videos while the women that they are dissing either are smiling because their candidate actually won, or they are the very women currently sitting in some of our top positions of power within our federal government. Talk about real female empowerment. The rest is just petty chatter. Thanks so much for watching today's episode. If you want more content like this, make sure to subscribe to our channel and like this video if you enjoyed it. And last but not least, if you want more content, you can follow me on X and Instagram. Thanks so much and have a great day.